What happens when a single mom, working tirelessly to provide for a child, faces humiliation in front of strangers? What happens when the person watching it all unfold holds the power to change everything? This is a story about courage, kindness, and the unexpected moments that remind us no one should ever be treated as less than they are. Let's dive in. It was a quiet Tuesday morning at Fresh Bite Cafe, a cozy little spot known for its warm coffee and homemade pastries. The air smelled of freshly baked bread, and the softness of chatter filled the room. Behind the counter stood Maggie, a 32-year-old single mom with tired eyes but a smile that never quit. She had been working at the cafe for 3 years, ever since her husband walked out, leaving her to raise her 7-year-old son, Liam, alone. Maggie was the kind of person who always put others first. She worked double shifts, saved every penny, and still found time to help Liam with his homework. But life wasn't easy. She often felt invisible, like the world had forgotten her struggles. That morning, the cafe was busier than usual. Maggie was rushing to take orders, clean tables, and refill coffee cups. Her manager, Brad, a stern man in his late 40s, was watching her like a hawk. Brad had a habit of picking on Maggie, always finding something to criticize. "Maggie, table 4's order is wrong again. How many times do I have to tell you to pay attention?" Brad snapped, his voice loud enough for everyone to hear. Maggie's cheeks turned red. "I'm sorry, Brad. I'll fix it right away," she said, her voice trembling. But Brad wasn't done. "You're always sorry, Maggie. Maybe if you weren't so distracted, you'd actually do your job right." The customers at nearby tables glanced over, some whispering, others looking uncomfortable. Maggie felt a lump in her throat. She wanted to cry, but she held it together. She couldn't afford to lose this job. Unbeknownst to everyone, a man sitting at a corner table was watching the scene closely. His name was Daniel, a well-dressed man in his early 40s with kind eyes and a calm demeanor. Daniel wasn't just any customer. He was the CEO of Fresh Bite Cafe, but he rarely visited locations in person. Today, he was undercover, wanting to see how his employees and customers were treated. Daniel had noticed Maggie the moment he walked in. There was something about her. The way she worked so hard, the way she smiled even when she looked exhausted. He could tell she was carrying a heavy weight on her shoulders. As the morning went on, Brad's behavior got worse. He yelled at Maggie for spilling a drop of coffee, mocked her for being a single mom, and even made a snide comment about her uniform being wrinkled. "Maybe if you had your life together, you wouldn't be stuck in a dead-end job," Brad said, his voice dripping with disdain. Maggie's hands shook as she wiped down a table. She wanted to defend herself, but the words wouldn't come. She felt small, humiliated, and utterly alone. That's when Daniel stood up. "Excuse me," he said, his voice calm but firm. Everyone turned to look at him. Brad frowned. "Can I help you, sir?" Daniel walked over to the counter, his eyes locked on Brad. "Yes, you can. I'd like to speak to your manager." Brad puffed out his chest. "I am the manager." Daniel nodded. "Good. Then you can explain why you think it's acceptable to treat your employees this way." Brad's face turned red. "I don't know who you think you are, but—" "My name is Daniel," he interrupted, "and I'm the CEO of this company." The room fell silent. Brad's mouth dropped open. Maggie froze, her eyes wide with shock. Daniel turned to Maggie, his expression softening. "Maggie, I want to apologize for what you've been through today. No one should ever be treated the way you were. You're an incredible employee, and we're lucky to have you." Maggie's eyes filled with tears. She didn't know what to say. Daniel then turned back to Brad. "As for you, Brad, your behavior is unacceptable. You're fired, effective immediately." Brad's face turned pale. "You can't do that." "I just did," Daniel said firmly. "Now please leave." As Brad stormed out, the customers broke into applause. Maggie stood there, still in shock, as Daniel walked over to her. "Maggie," he said gently, "I've been watching you all morning. You're hardworking, kind, and dedicated. You deserve so much more than this. Starting today, you're the new manager of this cafe." Maggie's hands flew to her mouth. "Me? But I don't know if I can." "You can," Daniel said with a smile. "And I'll make sure you have all the support you need." For the first time in years, Maggie felt a glimmer of hope. She wasn't invisible anymore. Someone had seen her, truly seen her and believed in her. A few weeks later, Maggie was thriving as the new manager. The cafe was busier than ever, and the staff loved working under her leadership. One day, Daniel returned to check on her. "Maggie," he said, "I have another surprise for you." I've been so impressed with your work that I want to offer you a position at our corporate office. You'll have better pay, benefits, and more time to spend with your son. Maggie was speechless. I don't know what to say. Say yes, Daniel said with a grin. As Maggie settled into her new role, she discovered something unexpected. Daniel had been a single parent too. His wife had passed away when his daughter was just a baby, and he knew firsthand how hard it was to balance work and family. I saw myself in you, Maggie, Daniel admitted one day. I knew you had the strength to overcome anything. I just wanted to give you the chance to shine. Maggie smiled through her tears. Thank you, Daniel. You've changed my life. Sometimes life surprises us. Just when we think we're alone, someone steps in to remind us that we matter. Maggie's story is a reminder that kindness can change everything, and that no matter how hard life gets, there's always hope for a brighter tomorrow.